Hello, welcome to Fate Awakens, Above Table Episode 5. My name is Alex Vanderhayden. I'm here with some of the cast and the DM. You guys might remember me from the Session 0 interview session, which was super fun. Kind of way to kick off. Finally back, long time ago, finally back with these guys. Been traveling a bunch. So at the table with me, we have Hannah, who plays Arine. We have our DM, Chris. We have Justin.
It's been a while.
It's okay, I forget his name too sometimes.
Who plays Edmund. We have Neil, who plays Jethro. We have Chris, Snook, not the DM, who plays Remdil. We have Thomas, who plays Domik. There we go. See, look, 12 names and I'm already done. So in this episode 5, we're going to be discussing episodes 15 through 22. So if you haven't watched those, please go ahead and watch those. There are going to be massive spoilers for those. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So 15 started with you guys just lost a party member, right? And you basically ended up on the ship and then ended up in Whalesport.
Yes.
So, in Whalesport, you guys had a jumping competition?
Oh my god. That
right?
was so long ago. Yeah, I guess we did.
Yes.
That I, crushed, by the way.
I vaguely remember this. I think I bet money on you.
You did?
You were also blackout drunk by the end of this.
I was 24 drinks in.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember what
and by
comes
the
next.
end, you were silenced and throwing up.
Yeah.
I remember what comes after that.
So, bringing in a new character into a campaign is always difficult, right? You guys decided to go with the obvious bar scene, tavern scene from classic D&D, right? It's a staple for a reason, right? Oh, somebody knocks a beer over, into somebody and, stumbles across and, how did you guys like that? I know the characters, it was super organic. It went really well with the new character coming in, Bulgrim. But how did players react to that,
I think it was just you and me that were at the table at that moment. I always think that that's one of the more natural ways to integrate a character is in a bar full of people telling their stories and, Fulcrum's personality. Oh, all right. I'm going to sit over here with you guys now and tell you my life story. And it's just all right, cute little pet. We'll keep him for a while.
Sure. I mean, what better way, as an adult to meet somebody than drunk at a bar?
Right.
Yeah. I was about to say, when I go to the bar, I talk to random people too in real life, So
we have friends in real life.
It's really not that strange of an occurrence, for it to translate to D&D, I think.
Above Table was pretty neat because Joey's been in every session.
Yeah.
He previously did interviews, so he was always in the room. So him being here wasn't exactly weird. We still didn't know he was taking that seat until he actually got up and sat down.
Yeah, that was my question is did you guys, did the DM prep you? Did you guys know you were going to fill the seat that session?
We had been talking about it too. As a group, we were we need to fill this seat. What are we going to do? Do we want to reach out to people? Do we know anybody? And him, the whole time in the back of his head was I already know. Don't even worry about it.
In hindsight, that should have been obvious, but it wasn't.
Yeah, and he played along too.
Oh yeah, he did completely.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you.
Oh yeah. Well,
with us being maybe we should post on the Charleston page and see if we can maybe interview some people, feel them out for the camera,
completely.
No,
yeah,
no.
The whole time he's just this is all a waste of time. I already know who we're picking.
Yeah, so you had all these ideas and then there's no follow through from the DM. So at the table, were you sitting there kind of going, okay, so is anything actually going to happen with this, or are we just going to have an empty seat for 4 episodes?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
It was the next session, right? Or
Yeah.
did we do did we do one episode?
There was one he
without
wasn't
him?
there.
Yep, just one.
So there was one episode that seat was empty.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we were all right, we've had one episode where no one was there. We kind of need someone there.
I think that was a good choice, though.
Yeah.
At least feel the loss a little bit,
And he was a good pick because he already knows what's going on. He didn't have to be briefed. His character was kind of briefed a little bit. We had a little exposition with you explaining what was going on.
Right.
Which it was also good for the viewers because it was pretty much a recap in episode of the road so far.
I think that Joey is doing an exceptionally good job of of making sure that his character did not know us before.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot that he could just kind of accept, but he does ask the questions about our background. He's oh, that's something that I am not supposed to know about them yet. So here's a conversation.
It's especially over him because he knows more than anyone at the table.
Yeah.
For all the moments when there's only one person at the table, he's been in the room too because he's doing the interviews.
Right.
So he literally knows more about our characters than anyone else at the table, but his character knows the least about our characters than anyone at the table. So he kind of has to do that balancing act of.
I think through all these episodes, that's quickly changing. I mean, he's almost up to where, not quite to where Draw was, you know, but he's getting there, I think. So I think he's done a fantastic job with characters.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
no complaints there. So you guys met him at the tavern, right?
Yes.
Where again did you guys and Edmund meet him after that?
I think
The
that
next morning at breakfast?
Yeah,
Is that
I was
right?
going to say, I didn't
Okay.
speak to him until the breakfast, and then I don't even know if I spoke to him then.
No, I think
Like, I
you were
just
like,
kind of just nodded at him because I was scarfing food.
yeah, you were like at the bar, like helping yourself, like the mega bar, the food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think both of you guys were like, oh, we have somebody you can talk to. There's this guy, he just remembers a bunch of shit, and we keep him around. Like, so just
because that's
meet
what it
Edmund
was.
tomorrow.
We said
Said that several
Edmund
times throughout
can
that
brief you on what's going on in the world.
Whenever I find someone looking for information, I'm like, I know someone.
I got
mean,
a
I
guy.
got a guy for that.
You do have keen mind and a journal. So
Right.
if anyone's going to keep story notes, it's you.
Do you even need the journal?
For Keen Mind.
I mean,
Not for a month. Technically.
That's his reminder book.
Like,
after the
in
month has
29
passed.
days, I better write this down.
So was that awkward for you guys to come down, you know, morning of and be like, hey, we found a stray, you know, here's this dude.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Remdil kind of just gorged himself on the little buffet there, but just kind of look over and see a new face, and he already looks like he's welcomed in. It's just like, wait, what? We just lost someone? Like,
Yeah, we added somebody to group, but did we have a discussion about this? You
Yeah.
guys drafted this dude, but
I mean, we had
There was no
minor
vetting process.
Yeah, we had minor talks.
Yeah.
About feelings of Draw leaving, and then boom, it's like
We just wanted
rather
a
large
strong friend.
humanoid just right with the group already. I was like, all right.
Well, you know, there's no better way to get over a breakup than to hook up with someone new, right?
Get over somebody is get under somebody else.
Yep.
That was the rule.
I don't think it was too weird bringing him in as a player, right? As a player, we knew we had to fill 6.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We knew that introducing someone mid-campaign in D&D, I don't think anyone's perfected.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, if there was an easy way to do it, everyone would do it that way every time. You know what I mean? And it's like a little bit of, like, suspension of belief, or of disbelief, I mean. You know, how you do in movies and stuff. You're like, why are these people working together? You know what I mean? What do they have in common? You know? It's just something that has to happen for the story to evolve.
Right. Well, I think something that was really well done with his backstory is that he came from another town
That was affected.
destroyed by a rift or,
Yeah.
you know, whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge improvement. Like, hey, I'm trying to stop this magic. And we're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, us too.
In our defense, I don't think, at least for Domik's point of view, I don't think he ever was like, yeah, you're in the group, let's go. It's more just like he saw someone with a problem and he knows someone who has a lot of information that might be able to solve a problem. And that's what he's been doing this whole time before he even met these people. Just he was told to travel south and solve some problems. So I don't know. I don't think I ever like accepted or didn't accept. He just kind of never left, so he's still here. I don't think it was ever like a
Right.
conscious
You didn't know
decision.
initiation ceremony or
Yeah, it's
you
just
know, hazing or anything, right?
no, not really. It's just
Meeting this one is
Yeah,
the
that's
initiation.
That's the initiation.
Which I think it's funny that my character was like drunkenly like performing magic acts.
yeah.
And then Bolgrim first thing was like, I don't like magic. Do we have a show for you?
oh boy, you picked the group.
Well, and we're all kind of strays in a way. Like, you know, it's easy to think, oh, it was those 3 and then it was us 3. But now, I mean, Arine was the monastery. You 3 met on the road.
Yeah.
And then Bolgrim, we meet on the road. Me and Draw were the only people who were actually connected for like living in the same town. You know what I mean? So now accepting someone from a different town, it's like, oh, that's what we do. You know, like.
Well, and now, like after what 8 episodes with him, right? You know, it's that immersion. The character immersion there is something that's really easy, right? Because it's not just you know, we live with this guy now for a month. It's no, you've actually like not been able to get away from this guy for a month. You know, there's a difference in living with your buddy and going on a week-long vacation with your buddy, right?
Yeah.
You know, so there's so much immersion difference there. I think it's really easy to play off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was easy. But The other thing I want to bring up is, do you guys ever think you're going to get away from the Ruby?
No.
I mean, I know you're only level 3 right now, and you got a long way to go, but...
No.
It doesn't feel like
We're level 2.
Are y'all really trying to get away
yeah,
now? Because
2,
y'all
sorry.
kind of going back to
We're
her.
level 3.
I'm not trying to get away. I'm trying to use my resources
Remember, I changed my
that I worked hard
It makes
to gain.
sense for Arine to go to, order of spies, right? And
I worked
do whatever.
very hard to gain Ruby as a resource
Makes
because
sense.
it felt like you were done. Remdil was trying to get away, and I was like, this is a really, really, really great resource of information.
So you're using her.
I mean,
no relationship is only beneficial on one side.
There's some.
I kind of agree with her. Like we had a conversation about, there's multiple conversations where we're like, we have to deal with shady people. There's there's bigger threats. That was like almost a theme of the first couple episodes.
Yes.
Like this is beyond us. There's no way we can do this. We're like level 1 or level 2. So like it feels like we already have the relationship. We might as well utilize it. Like, no, we can't trust her. I don't think any of us trust her 100%, but feels like the easiest route to fixing things to Domik and Thomas, honestly.
I mean, above table as we are, like, there's no way that you guys would have gotten any of the information that you had.
No, not even.
Without
Ruby
the deals
is
with Ruby.
absolutely vital.
We needed.
I mean, from a DM perspective, I'm sure there's some way, but it would have been very roundabout.
Yeah, for sure.
There's indirect.
There's pushes
I mean,
in directions depending on the players, but there's definitely pushes.
Yeah.
I think everybody above table is like, this is what we got to do. Like,
Right.
it's a pretty obvious story hook that we've all kind of been onto. But I think under or on table,
I feel like
on table.
I feel like it just would have been way more of a slog if we tried to do everything ourselves, and it would have not been good playing it or good watching it. It just would have been
Like, let's worry about problems we can handle when we're level 10, or something,
I think everyone has like varying levels of trust that change.
Yeah.
Because we all I think we all came in very apprehensive, and then some people started trusting her more, some people started trusting her less. Like, I know Jethro's character, Jethro's kind of just like, she's paid me quite handsomely these past few times we've met, and hasn't tried to kill me, so...
Right, and that makes for some really interesting dialogue.
Yeah, I feel like
the characters.
I feel like we could at least trust her to look out for her best interest. So as long as what we're doing vaguely aligns with what she's doing, like, maybe don't trust her to save your life.
Yeah.
But
if we ever became a threat,
we help her, she'll help us.
We're no longer useful. I think she would cut that tie.
And that's all we can really hope for. So
we need to continue being.
Now, would she cut the tie and be like, okay, I don't need you anymore, bye? Or would she be like, okay, now you've learned so much, time to kill you?
Yeah.
You know?
I think there will be a point coming up where, not coming up anytime soon, because we're still useful, I would think. I think that there will be a point that's going to come up where she has exhausted us of our usefulness, and it's going to be a situation of, does she let us live? Are we going to have to fight our way out of here? Are we just going to have to, like, dip out and hope she doesn't follow? Like, what's going to happen here? Because technically she doesn't have a teleporter anymore, so...
And where do their loyalties lie if we do have to do that?
Yeah. Arine's got a lot of training.
Like, what would it take
into the first contract?
What would
about the
Ruby
second
have
and third
to do? What would Ruby have to do to get Arine to flip on her?
That's the question.
That's any of our lives.
Which I think over the past 22
I feel like y'all are
probably
worrying.
Jethro,
I
but-
feel like some
I'm sure it's
characters. I feel like some characters are worried about the wrong things.
I think that over the past 22 episodes, we have less trust amongst the group.
certainly.
And that's not just like towards any one person. I think everybody trusts everybody a little bit less. Some people trust other people a lot more, but there's been a lot of shifting loyalties in the group itself.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I mean,
Like, especially with the one-on-ones or the two-on-ones that we've had where things have happened, and it's like, do we all trust, like, do all six of us trust each other now? Like, I know for a fact, Jethro does not trust Bulgrim in the slightest. That's not even a question. First time I met him, I'm over there doing magic, and he's like, oh, I hate magic. And then we go to some shady drug den, and I'm over there having the time of my life, and he's like, I don't feel too good. Yeah, like, Jethro and him are kind of at odds.
Jethro is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
And I was just going to
Jethro's
put
a
that
lot.
on the table.
Jethro is just a lot.
Jethro is a lot. I'll admit
I guess I'll ask that question. Is Jethro actually friends with anybody in the group?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so.
Wow, I thought we were
You
best
don't
friends.
No. Jethro's whole MO is self-preservation.
His introduction,
Dagger
like
in my
his introduction
heart.
video said he's a con artist,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
And I
hasn't
think,
changed.
I think the term friends is weird because it's like, yeah, I'll fight for you guys. And yeah, if like something comes up to where it's, hey, sell these guys out for some gold, I'm gonna be like, no. Because you guys have saved my life on multiple occasions. You guys are still useful.
it's a value
like-
proposition.
yeah.
They're worth more than
They're worth more to me alive than dead. So Jethro's whole thing is self-preservation.
See, now
Even
I
if it
feel
was
like
1,000 gold per head.
So, that's where
I said y'all were worried about the wrong character.
dollar figure in there.
I wouldn't say Jethro would turn everybody over for gold. But like if it was a situation where we'll say Ruby, since she's the big
Most likely.
yeah, if Ruby came to Jethro and said, "Hey, you betray them or I kill you," sorry to say it, Jethro is turning all of you in, just because it's me versus you. Hate to say
Jethro
it,
would
you know what I
try.
mean? Like I'm not going to be like 5 lives against 1. Like no, it's my life which is worth the most to me versus all of you.
That's where Arine is different, because if that same situation was presented to Arine, I'm like, Arine would be like, lived a good life, I guess.
What
Kill
if
myself.
what if it was just one of us? You don't think Arine would trade anybody?
Even Jethro.
You wouldn't trade Jethro? Wow, you have
No,
a
buddy.
much more high opinion of Jethro than Jethro has of Arine.
I don't think anyone has a bigger opinion of Jethro than Jethro does.
Y'all actually spent a lot of time together then. It's been at least like 2.5
There's been
months.
one-on-ones between Jethro and every character so far. So Jethro
So, yeah.
and Jethro has shared a little bit in each of those one-on-ones that if they all got together and shared everything, they would have a very large info dump to put it. Because he's had a meeting with Edmund that kind of revealed a little bit about my backstory, meeting with Arine that revealed a little bit, meeting with Remdil that's revealed a little bit, Domik, same thing, Bulgrim, like they've all had little one-on-ones, and I've left a little breadcrumb in each one that if they were to all sit down and like bash their heads together, Jethro probably wouldn't be at the party very much longer.
That's just the title of next episode. We need to talk about Jethro.
Let's talk about Jethro.
Yeah.
Everybody hates Jethro.
So I mentioned Ruby, right? You
Yes.
mentioned Ruby there as a big bad blank
big
guy,
bad?
right?
Big character.
Big bad, good guy, big bad evil guy, big bad neutral guy, nobody knows. But there's a big bad evil guy here, right?
bad.
Osas,
Without a doubt.
right? He is a big bad.
Yes.
The biggest of the bads.
For right now.
For right now.
Thus far.
Yeah. He's a bad dude.
He smells bad too.
That is,
Weird journal.
you know, it's obviously a big point of contention for my character. Like, I have a lot of hatred and plans to kill Osas with my 2 bare hands. But obviously, no one in this party is probably strong enough to even do it if we did it all together.
Handle it.
So yeah, I feel above table. I feel very bad that me or Arine taking everyone to the monastery to retrieve the book ended very poorly. And I feel like if I had rolled a little bit better on a sleight of hand roll to open the door, then it would have gone a lot better.
Right, that was my question. How bad does a player regret not facing Osas?
Okay. I don't regret what happened. I just wish that I had rolled better on the sleight of hand and
D&D.
not broken the door. Because if the door hadn't broken, we would have been
definitely-
clean. We would have been clean.
It was
out.
definitely you that failed the sleight of hand check.
Yes.
Not Jethro.
No, it was
really
me.
failed it. Was it?
Yeah.
I know I made a sleight of hand check that I also failed.
I think you both failed.
Yeah, both y'all rolled horribly.
But it's definitely your fault, not mine.
Yeah.
D&D. Wish I rolled better.
Yeah.
That is the entire point of the game.
I regret nothing. Arine regrets a lot. So it's fine.
That's fair.
You know who I trust? and do not foresee ever coming and stabbing us in the back later.
Is it Fulgrim?
It's Desiree.
The person we just met.
That'll definitely not come back around.
Desiree is such a slut.
From what Jethro's heard of Desiree, Jethro's a fan.
Yeah.
Just saying. Jethro kind of just sows his oats wherever they may fall.
As of
Oats.
I think that Edmund, as a
You sow your
married
seeds
man,
everywhere.
Yes.
You go for quantity, not quality, right?
Jethro is, for lack of a better term, a man whore.
You might have about half a dozen followers.
Yeah, like Jethro kind of just, he will talk to anybody and everybody because everybody is a potential assistance.
Right. I guess since you're traveling right now has really helped that, right? I mean, you guys have been to 4 towns now, right?
Yeah.
5, something like that?
I'm working on it, and
for
we had
the
a
last
fun
few
little
episodes.
interaction in, what was it, Walesport?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where I basically potentially got a lot of followers. I won't know that for a while because I got to send letters, that's all the thing. Running a church is a big business. So
running the church, right? But have you abandoned the bank idea?
the bank's still there.
It's still there.
The
okay.
bank is still an idea, but first of all, on the boat, what was it? What was the animal, the creature thing? The snake, whatever they're called. I forget the name.
The mermaid?
No, the snake person who ran the bank on the boat. Whatever. her name
Oh,
was.
yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah, the auntie.
Yeah.
He was kind of awful, but other than that. Yeah, the bank idea is still there. Jethro is looking for the next big thing. And I'm not going to settle. It's the same thing with the boat. I took the men from the city that I can't remember the name of. I'm really bad at names. And then sold their boat, gave them half the money and said, here's how much I made for the boat, and then said, now use this money to start a church. And then I kind of abandon it, and then eventually I'll say, hey, what are our proceeds? Can you send them to me?
So you went for the classic con artist duo of religion and banking.
Absolutely. It's the go-to.
A classic.
People have been using that thing for how long now?
Yeah.
That was very casual
Millennia.
shade.
Yeah.
Very casual.
It's because religion and banking is a solid duo.
It's true.
Some would call it the peanut butter and jelly of the con artist world.
The uncrustable.
I do want to say, Hannah and I were playing a board game the other day.
Oh,
and
God.
we won because of this game.
Yeah.
So basically, the board game is it's you and your partner, and then there's 2 other people who are playing as well. And to win the game, this is the final step. You draw a random card that has a word on it, and you have to get your partner to guess it. But if the other 2 people guess it,
lose.
it's their turn.
Yeah.
And so you have to say your clue that only your partner would be able to get it. And the word was credit. And I was like, we're going to win. I said Hannah. And the other people are still here, so they can guess whatever you want. I said, Hannah, it's what Jethro is trying to spread in our D&D world.
There was quite a few things you could have answered.
As a system of payment.
That's where you had to clarify. If you would have said just trying to spread, it's
Yeah.
I mean, it is better than, the typical D&D. Every group usually has one that's the serial philanderer, right?
Yeah.
I'm the bard.
It's a new take
even
on
though
it.
we don't have a
Yeah.
bard.
You're a
That's-
charisma based.
Yeah, charisma cast,
Yeah.
so it still works. But
I
not the
feel like
bard.
that's really accurate. You are the bard that we do not have, but also
Don't
to
need
you.
If you were less terrible, you could be mistaken for a bar.
I would
Less
say I'm not
terrible.
terrible. I'm a pretty good guy. I've saved all of you at some point.
This is above table. I know things.
Above
This is
table-
the one time.
above table, Jethro is the scumbag of the table.
Who have you saved and when?
I'm gonna just say an Eldritch Blast. I knocked that one dude off the boat first round before anybody could do anything.
I was about to say, after so many episodes of exposition and RP, how excited were you guys to actually roll a hit die?
So excited.
I was
so
I
thrilled.
was so excited that I, as a warlock, got within touch range just to cast Inflict Wounds. Because I
Yeah.
just wanted to hit something. I know that I'm safer at a distance, but I just wanted to hit something.
You have Eldritch Blast too. It's a pretty good cantrip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
That's what I'm
requires a
saying.
hit roll too.
It was so much fun, but I wanted to get up close and
Suck the life out of somebody.
yes.
You're wrong kind of warlock for that, but
It failed, but it was fun. I didn't die,
that's fair.
which was surprising.
So speaking of that, first off, the minis that Chris put on the table with the 3 ships and all of the characters and everything. I mean, he always pulls something out, right? I mean,
Amazing.
look at the shelf over here, and we play games before. He brings his whole tackle box full of minis, right? Like
Tackle.
It's a
box.
tackle.
It's like
It is
five,
really a
it's
tackle
like
box.
5 tackle
Yeah.
boxes.
Yeah.
like how much does that add to y'all's enjoyment of the game? I know this question has been asked before, but like I love talking about minis. So
It brings a lot of enjoyment for me. I just think that it's such a cool addition. Like, yeah, you can imagine it, and yeah, it's cool in your head, but to see it there and just to, I don't know, it kind of brings a little bit of magic, like, into the playing area.
absolutely.
Yeah, most of the D&D I've played since college, which is when I started, has been like you have the minis there and like maybe you have a grid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe. Sometimes you just have the minis and you're like, I'm loosely trying to do these things, and then you theater the mind the rest of it, But having like a full kind of set, you're like, oh, I can get more creative because I can be more specific.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it lets you like visually, like there's a wall between us. Oh, there's a ledge that I can jump up on. Like you can more accurately see the battlefield and see maybe what more fun stuff you can do. Like, oh, there's a tree over there. Like if it's only up to the DM to describe the scene and he doesn't mention there's a tree there, then you're never going to think of it. But if you look at the map and there's a tree in the corner, he doesn't have to waste time describing the battlefield. You can see the battlefield and you think, oh, I want to scamper up that tree or something like that.
Sure.
Which I equate when we sit down at the table and we see the D&D minis all set up. We know that something's happening. It's like when you were a kid and you walked in the classroom and the TV's all set up on a little cart and you know it's a movie. That's when it's like the same feeling of.
Is that because you find combat easier than RP? It's a little movie day. Let me turn my brain off a little bit.
Well, my character is built for RP.
Right.
His combat is atrocious. Like
Right.
all of his stats are built around good RP. So when it does come to combat, it's like I'm gonna roll Eldritch Blast until that stops working, and then I'll think about the alternatives. So yes, combat for me is just turning the brain off because it's like Eldritch Blast. You guys do what you gotta do. I'm gonna, as long as I'm over 10 feet away from somebody, just assume it's an Eldritch Blast every turn. So it's for me, combat's easy because I don't have to make up anything because RP is what my character is geared towards. But everyone has different things. Like Remdil, your character is much better built towards combat.
Oh yeah.
You have a lot more. I mean, you're.
I'm pretty much the complete opposite of Jethro. Like, combat, brain comes on. RP, well, you're gonna get 3 or 4 sentences, and that's
Sometimes
about
3 or
it.
4 words.
Yeah. But
Sometimes one of those sentences is.
to be able to see, and I think at one point, Arine did a backflip off of the ledge to get behind another person to attack. So like it's just things like that the minis and being able to see like a full ship like that, you're just like, this is.
I
really jump
from
into
ship
it.
to ship.
Yeah.
That's it.
I would also say it's easier to visualize cover, which is something that you don't see a lot in D&D games. Even though it's like in the rules, people.
Well, I mean, especially 5e, they could, Pathfinder a little bit, but 5e they kind of nerfed cover just a bit.
Yeah.
And I will say during that combat too, kind of going back to get more creative with what you can do. Like, oh, there is a tree there, so I know I can scamper.
Burn everybody down.
Trying to like knock that stand over just so I can. If I knock that mast over onto the whole ship of invading pirates, I'm like, that's problem solved in one hit, And then you guys all rushed on.
Yeah. I think Domik is a good middle ground. I have a little bit of RP, but in combat with the ships, if we didn't have that, I would have just been like, I stand in the middle of the ships as close to everyone.
Right.
I just want to be as close to everyone. That's what I would have said.
Yeah, give me line of sight and how close can I get to everyone?
But what actually happened was I was like, oh, this is there's just no safe place to stand. I could see where everything was exactly. I'm just going to stand by the door. All of my stuff is reactions, and if I'm not near people, at least my best abilities are reactions, so I need to be close to people. But I was like, that's a lot of water. I'm in metal armor. I looked at my athletics, and I was like, I'm just going to chill by this door. I'll hold spells and I'll throw them. But if it was like, there's a couple ships, I probably would have just tried to do, as close to everyone. But that it helps. It helps a lot. Being able to see like all the danger right there.
It helps you remember flanking too.
Yeah, that too.
It definitely helps you remember flanking. Like as soon as you see the minis, flanking becomes more of a priority than it would. And you're like, all right, I'm gonna get behind him. How much movement do I have?
And when you can see where your allies are, it makes it all easier.
Yeah.
Yep. So with that RP and with the physical props, Justin, how surprised were you when you were handed a book at the start of one of the sessions? Literally a journal.
Yeah,
that was written by the DM, and he's like, "Okay, we're going to talk about this in 5 minutes." So,
right, I was like, "You guys just do whatever RP you're going to do. I'm going to actually have to do some homework."
They made it good because you couldn't metagame. Like it wasn't like he sat you down for the session and said, "Here's the important stuff from the journal." He literally was like, "Here's the journal. If you think it's important, you can say it. If you think it's not important, don't say it." And then we ended up.
Yeah, and I have notes all over it. I don't know if you can see it from the camera. Probably
and we were able to revisit it because when he read it the first time, he was like, "Here's the important bits," and we kind of skimmed through it. But then later on, I think it was a later session where we came back and we were like, "Hey, I noticed some things. Let's go back over."
Things that we missed.
So like his character was literally like missing things, so it made it better.
Yeah,
it was kind of. I thought that it was fun, like how quick we assume stuff based on the first read through of the journal. Which is definitely something my character would do. Just take all of the information, like, all right. Here's that, here's what I'm going to do about it. I'm done thinking about it. But it's also very like Edmund's character to be like, why did he use this word?
Right.
Like, why is this capitalized?
It really was stuff like that. Like, literally the very first entry, a few months have left the village, our plan is in full effect. I was like, our plan? You know, our? What are you talking about, motherfucker?
So that's awesome. Now that you guys are, getting towards the end of these 8 episodes that we're covering, right? You guys have been through a major adventure with Balgrim now, right?
Yes.
Kind of know how he's going to respond to certain things now.
He's in.
He's in, sort of.
There's still some questions about him.
Oh, y'all spent a full 30-day
He's
period.
I fought him a lot.
But he hasn't used any of his, we know above table what he can do, and he hasn't done any of it.
Yeah.
Like, we know he's...
I think we're going to save that
he's
still
afraid of
secret,
it.
right?
Yeah, we know what he can do, and he hasn't done it. So we know his potential. So why is he hiding it?
I think not to speak for him, but I think that his character, like, is afraid of it.
Yeah.
Because I think that he had, like, never done that before.
That'd be fun.
Well, that goes back to his
something
original thing, right?
Yeah, he doesn't like
I'm
magic.
saying I don't like magic.
So it's very interesting because we have a lot of magic at the table. We have a wizard, a warlock, and a cleric. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Bulgrim has, like, a certain amount of magic inside of him. That's just the way it is. But
So-
He's described that he's had one instance that he performed it.
he's told he's told on table that he has performed magic, but he doesn't like to. He didn't like the way it went, so he doesn't.
So was your little sojourn with him to the drug den? By the way, we need some props for the next drug den.
just some flour.
That's expensive props.
Heroin.
Your sojourn to
I know a guy.
to the drug den, right? Was any of that in the back of mind? You're thinking, okay, well, I'm going to get him high as fuck so that he goes ahead.
That was the game plan.
And
that's why, like, I think my character was literally like, "Oh, I've done it before. You try it first." Like, I already know what's going to happen to Vulcan. I want you to experience it. My plan was to get him high and then either leave him while I went and handled business or start picking his brain for stuff. Because, like I said, Jethro does not trust Bulgrim in the slightest. Because, especially, I don't know if that conversation was in episode 22.
Oh, that's true.
There was a conversation that
There's
was
a
had
conversation, yeah.
that involves, and I can't remember which episode it was in, so I'll be very non-spoilery about it, but where he discusses the various deities that his tribe believes in.
Sure.
Which, again, when you see it, you'll know it. And it tipped off a big alarm bells for Jethro.
Sure.
So it's sort of, we'll see how that plays out. But Jethro really does not trust Bulgrim. He doesn't like magic. He's not a man of many words. Anytime that Jethro has tried to make conversation, he's always butt in, like, let's just get to the bottom of this.
So
Jethro and Bulgrim were kind of, so taking him to drug den was like, it's sort of like that thought of like, I could kill him right now and nobody would know.
my follow-on question to that would be, why do you like Remdil then?
Yeah. Let's get into that.
Remdil saved his life multiple
Yeah,
times.
Remdil
That's what it is.
and also it's like a different situation. Like Remdil, we met
Handed
him.
you a lot of money. I think that's
That
what's
too.
keeping.
I was like,
keeping it going.
300 gold.
Like I met Remdil in the fighting pits. He was like, "I'll travel with you guys." He put his neck on the line for us. So like, on a personal level, Jethro has had his life saved by Remdil multiple times now. Remdil has always made sure that that Jethro is taken care of in terms of, oh, there's a deal going on and Jethro's words are starting to fail. Like Jethro can't talk his way out of the situation. Then Remdil's like, all right, now the muscle takes care of it. So there's been a mutual, very one-sided, but mutual, I guess you could say. There's been some give and take, mostly take.
An understanding.
But so that's why he trusts Remdil. And Remdil has never said, "I don't trust your magic. I don't think what you're doing is right." Yada yada.
Sure.
Whereas Bulgrim has explicitly said, "I don't trust magic." He's definitely not going to trust dark magic.
Well, I think Remdil even at one point was like, "Oh, is there any way I could, learn some of this
Yeah,
cool shit when he's on the ship, right?"
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very like
went well.
I
Remdil.
think on the ship, I went to Arine to talk about, hey, like, you're learning things. Like,
And it was while I was
I
cutting
feel like
his hair.
Remdil's starting to feel like he was getting left behind. Like, these people were throwing around magic. She's learning new things, and I'm just like, well, I got my sword.
You're very good at your stuff.
Yeah, from Jethro's point of view, Bulgrim is very closed-minded and self-sufficient. And Jethro's self-sufficient, but he's very open-minded. So seeing someone who's like, I don't like magic, he definitely doesn't like dark magic. Even taking him to the drug den, he was like, oh, what's this? Like, should we be here? It's like, dude, just chill out, come along for the ride. Also, he's kind of dumb, so. That's the whole thing.
Isn't that what usually Jethro goes for, though?
That's the thing.
Is to take advantage of the close.
It's the guy I would usually target, but I'm just getting a bad vibe on
But
him.
he's closed-minded.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
And there's like a bad vibe. Like I feel like something's gonna go poorly. Jethro does, and even as a player, like I feel like he's got something that's gonna come out, and it's gonna be a fight between Jethro and him. Maybe of words, maybe not.
It'd be interesting
Hope you're at
to
a
see.
distance.
Yeah.
You don't really see Jethro buck up for a fight. Remdil, get him.
That's what I'm saying. It would be a fight of words,
Right.
and then if that fails, I'm taking a quick dash, 100 feet, and then I'm going to see how many shots I can get off before he closes range. So, but it's the Jethro Bulgrim situation is going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because it's not necessarily like a full-on hate; it's just a distrust.
I think the Jethro everyone situation is going to be interesting,
Yeah.
but
I mean, Jethro and Domik have a spat.
Domik hates you, bro.
I don't think so.
yeah, I played games with you guys before. You guys have to either end up best friends in the campaign or fire and water.
Yeah,
I think
There's no in between.
I think that the Jethro-Arine relationship
it's improved vastly.
has
Yes.
improved.
It's improved vastly.
Y'all used to be the worst.
At least from
Yeah.
his perspective. Yeah.
That's improved. Remdil, Jethro's court sort of just like, whatever.
It's funny
You
how
scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, whatever.
Yeah.
it's funny how quick that like flip flops.
Well, I think
Like
it
a
was
couple interactions and it's completely different.
Right.
it was a distrust from Arine's end.
Yeah.
Jethro was just kind of like, she's along for the ride, she can hit stuff for me, cool, she's cool in my book. Arine didn't trust Jethro. Once Jethro sort of opened up in the one-on-one and was like, hey, here's all my cards on the table, that's when Arine was like, well, I can't distrust you anymore because you just bared it all, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
that kind of dashed that. Edmund and Jethro was kind of,
I think we're fine.
Yeah, there's no issues
Because
there.
I'm like, all right, I can talk to someone about magic. He cares about books, at least if they benefit him, and I care about every thing of knowledge. You know what I mean?
it's someone to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah.
That's what
We have
our
a
characters
very
often
professional
Yeah.
relationship. It's like, you're not going to convince me to follow you.
No.
But you do know stuff. So
And I know I can get information out of him if I need it. Like, I know he's not going to hide anything from me.
yeah.
At least, I'm pretty sure. He may have. Not sure
It's
yet.
just a little business to business
Yeah.
The,
interactions.
the arcane boys.
Yeah.
bouncing
Yeah.
together.
So we're very professional conversation, like bouncing ideas of. Arine has no reason to mistrust me now. I don't just trust Arine. Remdil, we're friends. We've traveled together, I'd say.
Oh, so he's your friend.
Yeah, I didn't think you were friends with anyone.
Me and Domik, I mean, we banter, but we definitely have a distrust just on a deity level.
I mean, if Domik really disliked you, you would know. Everyone.
Domik's
would know.
healed me on multiple occasions.
Yeah, like-
so like when he could have just let me suffer.
Yeah.
Like Domik has put his, especially in our negative sessions, Domik's put his life on the line
Yes,
in a
like-
situation for me.
It's like Loki and Thor and
Yeah,
Marvel,
sure.
right?
It's,
Oh, yeah.
kind of actually is.
Yeah, it really is.
It actually is. That's a very good.
Everyone's like, oh, I get it.
Next time you go to, you got to pick up a hammer, man.
So yeah, I guess
They were fishing the hammer.
Bulgrim's the
Pretty
only
sure.
one that Jethro's really like. Should we be trusting him?
Yeah. So speaking of the next town, how much time do you budget each time they go to a new town when they're not on fire?
So I wish they stayed at Willsport a little longer
Yeah.
because I spent way too long planning that one.
I mean, every time they go to a new city, it's okay. Where can I shop? Where can I get drugs? Where can I proselytize?
Where can I get drugs?
Where is your library?
Where's your
I was
library?
looking for the mayor, and I found her, but she's also the local drug dealer.
Well,
Allegedly.
And not the mayor.
And probably not the mayor.
that's the thing.
I don't think that
Jethro has big plans for that drug debt. So you just wait and see. It's gonna get very interesting.
You
So-
people making plans.
With the amount of traveling, have you expected them to go to so many cities? Have you expected them to be on boats for as long as they've been on boats? I mean, they've been on so many ships in this campaign.
Well, they've kind of. I've given them choices in a way. They might not have known they've had choices, but they've chosen to go with Ruby. They've chosen to go with Ruby's missions or.
So
Decided.
you say chosen. And I know you can't
I
say.
chose that for the group.
I think Arine chose that for everyone.
Arena chose
Well,
that
that means
for
y'all
everyone.
chose because y'all chose to go with her.
Well, yeah, he had a contract and whatever. But so you say they chose Ruby, right? Mm-hmm. Is there a campaign path that would have led them to choosing Osas?
No.
Not with Arena in the group. I don't see it.
You know, because they're level 2, 3 now, right? They
not
have to
when
have
we
some
Say
kind of
that,
thing.
but
Not with Arine in the
Edmund
group.
probably
the rest of the
would've
group
been
has
okay
no
with it.
reason to distrust Osos
The
except for Arena.
moment that Domik would have met him, it would have been
But
a
only if he's
hard
actively
out.
casting Detect Good and Evil.
Which I was because she
had you not.
told us that he was bad.
Right.
I guess.
Arine
You
would have.
didn't cast Detect Good and Evil when we met the
So
governor.
When I
Arine
went-
would
when we met
have
the governor.
always, if there was interaction with Osas, Arine would have always said, "This dude is bad news bears."
And I would
Like,
have always checked. If she's not there, then I don't think to check, and then maybe we fall under his thrall or whatever. But with Arena giving us the heads up, whether she's right or wrong,
It's an easy check.
It's just a spell
Right.
slot.
yeah, it's just a spell slot. I don't see a line where I just walk into a place that I'm pretty sure is evil and don't check if it's evil.
And you checked Ruby too, and she
Yeah, I
was
checked
not.
Ruby.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think I had the spell like the first time we found Ruby, so
No.
I didn't. But she was like, I'm pretty sure this guy's evil. So I was like, let me pray and see if I can do something about this. Not really, but I can
Vomits.
check. Explosively sick.
We'll just
Vomits
know
and
that we're
hides.
fucked instead of not know.
It's very lucky that not. I don't know how to say this without giving away too much. It's very lucky that more characters haven't been alone with more characters. Put it that way. Because there's some interactions from the information I've gleaned through little tidbits of conversation. There are a couple of character pairings that if they were left in a room with each other would probably murder each other on sight. But I don't think they've had enough time alone with each other to make that happen.
I don't.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I agree with that.
I have two pairings in mind. That if these two people or these two people
I think I know what you're talking.
locked in a room with each other for at least a day and just started talking, they would murder each other.
so you're trying to say that if you were locked in a room with
I'm
Both with you?
not even.
Common denominator.
Not even.
Right there.
Not
Either of them with you?
One of them is me, one of them I'm not in.
One of them is you and Bulgrim. Who's the other one?
Interesting.
I can't tell you that one, but I can
do
tell you.
it, do it.
No, because then you guys are going to try to do it.
I don't.
It's so hard not to metagame knowing this.
Was the conversation I had with Bulgrim in the game? I don't remember.
There are
if
two
we passed
people
it.
that, as of this very moment, if they were in a room alone with each other, it would not go well.
I'm just gonna.
I can
Playable
only,
characters.
Two playable characters.
the only one I can see is maybe Bulgrim and him if he sees like
No.
a lot of magic
No,
coming out from them.
It's based on the end of the very most recent episode.
Oh, you can't say that again.
I know.
Okay, then what I'm thinking is true. Yeah, I know what he's talking
Yeah.
about. I know who he's talking about.
I don't know.
That if those two
I don't remember what the very end was.
if those two people got alone in a room now and certain things were said, it would be on site.
It'll happen soon.
Actually, three people. Now that I think about it,
We're being too secret now.
I kind of want
Three people, and then you looked at me and looked at him.
Listen.
Your eyes
Wait, was
gave
there
you
a
away.
private thing that I
Yes.
missed? Oh, okay.
There was a private conversation.
I know what
that
you're talking
everyone
about.
at the table missed.
I know what you're talking about.
And then there was a not so private conversation afterwards that tied into it.
We got a few pigeons in this room, guys.
I know.
I can't do the sound. I can't roll my R's. I've never been able to.
Yeah. Because if
I guess I was out of the room for a lot of that.
all of you
Yeah.
were,
Yeah, we.
It was like a good 30 minutes or so.
there is
I'm like, why do I not remember?
now 3 pairings. In that conversation, there's 3 pairings that would kill each other
So,
in a room.
speaking of, or to dovetail this conversation, Chris, how do you keep these chuckleheads from metagaming too much?
I think they do metagame a good bit, actually.
There's an acceptable level,
not.
right? And then
They do it
there's-
to an extent, but at the same time, they're being really good. If you went to a random table in any game shop, they would metagame all day.
I mean, we speak metagames. I don't think we act on it a whole lot.
Yeah.
If we acted on some things,
There's I think
bad.
y'all act on combat more than you do an RP,
Yeah.
That's like
metagame wise.
It's hard
That's
to
common.
not.
I know it is very
Yeah,
hard.
I mean, you can hand wave that away because the Remdil is going to be better and more experienced in swinging a sword than Chris Snook, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got experience.
For now.
He's got experience. He understands
guy?
battlefields. You know, your character would understand that, but you, in the moment, don't, and it takes
Yeah,
you a
yeah.
little.
I don't
longer,
think
you
y'all
know?
seen
So,
the blade of that sword behind them.
Yeah,
Real.
a lot of the combat and metagaming, I think, is pretty easy to hand wave.
Very
but-
true though.
Yeah. Storylines, like, we kind of all know what we need to be doing. Like, we all know our goal is the pillars of the big story hook. We all know this.
Wait, really?
Yeah. No, I'm joking. You should check your notes.
Notes.
One pillars kill the boy.
Yeah. So, like, we all know that. And so every interaction we have, we're kind of like, how can we steer this towards pillars and the next, where's the next hook?
Or something exciting.
Which that's kind of what we've delegated Edmund for. Is Edmund is the story mover. We're like, hey Edmund, you should go talk to this person because they might move our story along, and that's what he does.
Yeah. Well, and then there's a downside to not metagaming a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, if Edmund wants to keep Drawl in, he could force him to stay,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But, like, Chris isn't here. So, like, we have to make that happen as players. You know what I mean? And you could say that for everything. Okay, this Bulgrim guy comes up, and we're like,
I gotta revive off this guy.
don't worry about it, man. Like, you spilled your drink on me or whatever. Like, fucking move on. You know? Like, you have to
Just go
mitigate
to
a little
bed.
bit, right? As a
then
player.
Occasionally, we'll discuss things that need to happen. Like, for instance, there was a point where before the session, we said, hey, I want to have a private one-on-one conversation with so-and-so.
Yep.
And so we have to think the whole time, how do we steer the story to where it opens up? Because we can't just randomly be like, all right, you're traveling down the road. All right, I pull this person aside. And we have like, that just doesn't, it's choppy. But if we can say, organically, these two people end up alone, or these two people go off and do something.
I think it's a little easier when you have, say, like 1 3.5 hour episode a week, but when you're doing the hour and a half, it's really hard. That becomes very choppy. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
100% agree.
Like the last one-on-one, it was like, hey, we went to go book the rooms. So it works out. Like, we're already alone. We're in a situation where we're having to waste time waiting for the guy to get the keys and all that. So it's like, oh, quick conversation, back into it.
That's fair.
So that, I guess that's metagaming, but it's more to keep the flow good, because a lot of stuff we do for the cameras.
Right.
There's certain
true.
things where, like, we might cripple ourselves, or we choose not to take the most efficient path because we know it'll be better story-wise.
Right. I don't think it's for the cameras. I think that's just effective RP, right?
Yeah.
This is a collective story.
We would love to just blast
At the end
through
of the
every
day,
encounter, but
Right.
that does not make it.
At the end of the day, you're trying to tell an enticing and cohesive story.
Right.
Yeah.
Regardless if cameras are on or not. I mean, I don't want to be around a table with a bunch of guys that are going to be murder hobos for a whole campaign. I've done that campaign. It's not great.
Yeah.
It can.
I nearly did that campaign with you two, but
I think COVID saved you on that one.
COVID did say that.
And the idea of, like, not playing our characters to their full potential. We've hit on this in other above tables before, but, like,
Yes.
Domik not using some of his best spells because he hasn't thought to use them yet. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a spell list. He prays to Avaricia about
Nope. He prays to Avaya. I pray to
I
Avaya.
fuck that up every time.
y'all could have made it easy and not had deities that started with A's. You know, just
We didn't before this. We didn't know. Like I went to Chris and said, "Hey, here's the deity. Let's come up with a name." I think we looked up like a couple of words in like Latin and just like smashed them together.
That's the thing, though. Based on what y'all wanted, and if we went with a Latin stem or something like that to get to it,
it just worked.
It just worked that way.
No one talks about Arine's deity.
You haven't.
Arine has a deity.
I was in a
done anything with it.
monastery.
So you have never mentioned your deity.
Literally never.
You don't
once.
go
Never
through your
asked.
deity at all.
Well, I'm asking.
No, but I still have one.
Is your deity Daewin?
No.
We know Daewin because you guys use it like as a greeting.
Yeah. That was like our. It
was very casual.
You know, whatever.
It's like Star's greeting.
Yeah, like because
Stars blessings. Yeah.
I know Domik has a deity. Domik knows I have a deity. We both talk about them often. Fulgrim, we just found out, has multiple deities, which is a whole issue. You never mentioned your deity.
Bro, I meditate all the time.
I thought that was just an elf thing.
That's an elf thing. That has nothing to do with being a
No,
bug.
that's trancing.
What do you think
That's
she's doing for the
nothing.
4 hours?
I thought she just sat there with her eyes closed.
As much as I hate to agree with, I have no idea. I mean, this is above table.
We've talked about our
I
deities
know.
all the time. You've never interjected. Like,
I don't
you guys
know.
want to hear about my deity?
Maybe you guys will find out. I was at a
It's
monastery.
Would you like to join my prayer circle? It's really just me.
Okay, well then I guess Edmund would definitely know it.
You do know it.
I don't remember it.
It's Imiana.
Key mine.
It's Imiana, isn't it?
It's Fanemorn.
Yeah.
Profane.
Oh yeah, Fane Morin. That's it.
That sounds made up.
I thought Fanemorn was the name of the monastery.
Monastery of Fane Morin.
That makes
There we go.
sense.
There we go.
Okay, I thought Fanemorn was the name of the monastery. Like
It is.
Clever.
and Fanemorn is all okay. That makes sense.
I feel dumb.
Now.
It's like when they say church
God
of
of
God,
life
and you're like,
and
oh,
death.
right.
God is God. Okay, that makes sense.
Which god?
Fanemorn is the god of life and death.
That's a deity you'd be into. Life and
kinda
death,
is, to an
good and
extent.
evil, fate, all that good stuff.
Not getting my prayer time, but you know,
You guys all have pretty dual gods.
I'll give him some
I
Not
don't,
even
I
close.
don't have a dual god. My god is very one-sided.
very polarized.
God itself is a very strong word to
Yeah,
use.
let's say we talk about one-sided. You know, the warlock over here is like, oh, I just take from everybody. Well, you're giving a lot to somebody else.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah, I had a.
That's for another above table.
The next above table because I think I know some things now that haven't happened yet.
Yes.
So
That
I
haven't
have some words,
I
but
think
we'll
that
get to
I know. I think that my character.
Everyone knows something's up. They just don't know the extent of what
I'm
that
so
something
upset.
is.
And our characters know less than we do.
Yes,
You showed Arine something. I think Arine.
but didn't go into detail.
No, but Arine's not a dumb bitch. She's a
Smart.
What's your intelligence?
smart bitch.
What's your
pretty
insight?
good.
What would be an
I'm
insight if
dumb.
you rolled a 10? What's your passive insight?
My passive insight.
So if you rolled a 10 plus all your modifiers.
You should be wisdom.
Can't see it.
What's your intelligence?
13. I have a +3 on insight.
There you go.
So 13. My base deception with, if I rolled a 10, my deception is 21.
But you weren't deceiving.
So stupid.
That's what you think. I'm always
not even a rogue.
deceiving.
I know.
I have a plus
That
11.
homebrew class.
I have a plus
that's pure
11 to
RP.
deception.
I think he's going to take a multi-class in a rogue.
No.
It really helps character.
All warlock, all
Can you imagine expertise on
He already has
more?
He has
I
a
know he does.
deception.
That is a homebrew, which, by the way, if you want to see it, is on the Reddit. The subreddit.
on the Reddit.
If anybody wants to see it,
Yep.
you can see everything that's coming down the pipeline.
So my last question for the above table, Chris, do you prefer prepping a battle or prepping a town?
Oh, battle. Town's a lot more work.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
I mean, towns can be little villages or big towns or, you know.
Yes, but you have to have a lot more stored that will probably not be used.
Yeah, I know this question wasn't,
No, anybody that DMs is fine.
but battles are fun. It's a good time. You get to like throw things. You're like, you guys
Everything
figure it
can
out.
be used in a battle.
Well, the thing is a battle, like, battles are your player's responsibility to figure out. They have to, like, solve the problem. Towns, you have to be prepared. You have to have everything. It's overwhelming sometimes. That's why I just...
Which I feel like our group is very hard to plan a town around because, like, you know we're going to look for a library.
Yeah.
You know we're going to look for a blacksmith. After that, you know we're going to look for a tavern. But then after that, it's like,
It's it.
I found a drunk dead. Like,
Yeah, it's just
who expected Arine to be looking for the back alley poisoner? Like, that's not something.
Right.
We ended
I
up
don't
in
know.
a
She isn't
perfume
like
shop.
trying to get into like a cult of
But
assassins.
prior to that
So-
session, Arine was the monk who used a staff. So it's like her fists. Now she's looking for.
I'm still
like
using a
You can have
staff.
assassin
used
monks. It's
herself.
called a ninja.
But it was just. It's not something like.
There's like-
if I was
I'm
planning that,
still
I would
very
not have
much
thought to
using
put
a
a
staff.
poisoner. in.
I mean, yeah, there's like an infinite
be-
number of things that you could put in the
Right.
town, and it's just like
And occasionally we just have random urges to do things. Like we're just like, I feel like doing this.
I think that's
Yeah.
Jethro mainly.
Yeah. And he's got a plan for it. He's got to have all these things.
That was a royal we.
Sometimes things happen and they're out of our control.
Are they?
Yes,
everything.
very much so.
I mean, there's always a catalyst. But
No, there's.
all right.
Never.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this above table. It was fantastic to sit down and talk to you guys. I know I've been away for a really long time, but it's awesome to talk to you guys about the campaign in person again. Thank God. So thank you all at home for joining us for the above table number 5. Hope you join us again. Episode 22 is coming out. It just came out. Episode 23 is coming. Right?
It is.
So thank you guys. Please like and subscribe. Have a good time.
Do it.
Fate Awakens out.
Bye.